Hi, my name is Patrick Reagan. Welcome to the Operating System's Windows configuration, where we discuss the various tools to configure Windows 10 and 11, including Windows settings and control panel. In Part 9, Managing Programs, discusses the types of Windows applications, how to install applications, and how to manage programs, including how to uninstall an application. It also discusses how to configure default apps and how to run a program under compatibility mode. For those who are going to take the A+ exam, there are practice questions toward the end of the video. An application, also known as a program, is a computer software package that performs a specific function or task for an end user or another application based on carefully designed features. Applications for desktop or laptop computers are sometimes called desktop applications. Applications for mobile devices are called mobile apps. Mobile applications can be subdivided into Android apps and iOS apps. Web applications are those stored on a remote server, delivered over the internet, and executed through a browser. Windows desktop and laptop applications can be divided into desktop applications, Windows apps, and Universal Windows apps or Universal Windows Platform, UWP apps. Desktop applications are the traditional Windows applications that you install and use with the mouse and keyboard, which are listed in the control panel programs and features. Desktop apps tend to have multiple features and can perform multiple tasks. Most applications can run on Windows 7, 8.1, 10, and 11. However, some older applications might not be compatible with newer versions of Windows and vice versa, depending on how they were developed. Desktop applications can be created by Microsoft as well as any other company or person. Windows apps are downloaded and installed from the Microsoft Store. While the Microsoft Store is their official method of distribution, developers and power users can sideload apps from other sources just like on Androids. Since universal apps are purchased through the Microsoft Store, they're invented so they do not have bloatware, cannot install additional Windows services, and contain no adult content. Universal apps are usually less complex software than desktop applications, have a limited number of features, and perform just a single or a few complementary tasks. Universal apps are automatically updated through the Microsoft Store, and updates are automatically free. Apps can be run only in one instance at a time, on one screen at a given time. Universal Windows apps or Universal Windows Platform, UWP apps are Windows apps, but are designed to work the same on multiple devices with different form factors, including tablets with Windows 10 and 11, laptops and desktop computers with Windows 10 and 11, and Xbox One consoles. Desktop applications can be installed with one of the following: a .exe file. While .exe files can install software as an installer package or self-extracting zip files, they can also be a standard Windows program. They can contain other .exes and .msi files. Developers like them because they're highly customizable and are great for a single installation. .msi files are Microsoft installer files that provide a comprehensive standardized framework for the installer, which includes the uninstall and built-in features and common options, including options for quiet or silent installation. Typically, .msi files are more secure than .exe files. Some programs will have you execute a batch file or script that will call up the necessary executables or .msi files and possibly create folders, copy files, and so forth. Lastly, because of the growth of the internet and hosted cloud services, you can also install applications from a web page. The newer methods that have you download the files to your hard drive and perform the installation, or perform the installation over the internet. Most installed applications have to be installed using an installation program. You cannot just copy the executable files and folders from one computer to another and expect the program to run fine. These applications may need registry settings, DLL files located in other folders, and files and settings stored in the app's data folder. The app's data folder is a hidden folder that includes application settings, files, and data unique to the applications on your Windows PC. It can be found in C:\users, \the username, \app data. Programs or applications are managed through Windows Settings and Windows Control Panel. Windows Settings has apps, which includes apps and features, default apps, offline maps, apps for websites, video playback, and startup. Apps and features shows all applications, desktop, and Universal/Microsoft Store apps that are installed on your machine. As you click each application, you may have options to move, modify, or uninstall. If you click the vertical ... you can click Advanced Options for the program. Advanced Options allow you to view specifications including publisher, version, size of app, size of data, and total usage. Configure app permissions used with privacy, configure lock screen notification settings, and configure set default apps. Terminate this app and its related processes, repair where the app data won't be affected, reset where app data will be deleted, uninstall the application, and manage add-ons and downloaded content for the application. If you click Optional Features, you can view components that are part of Windows 10 or 11 and uninstall the installed features. To add features, you can click Add a Feature, then click More Windows Features, which opens the Control Panel features. A default app is a program that you've installed on Windows 10 or 11 that is used to open certain file types or complete certain tasks. Windows allows you to change the default app. For example, in Windows 10, if you install Google Chrome, you can configure the Google Chrome will be your default web browser instead of Microsoft Edge. It should be noted that Windows can reset default apps when applying updates or when other applications are out of date. In Windows 10 and 11, default apps by file type gives you more granular control with default apps. Windows knows what program to open a file because it associates the file type or file extension with a specific program. If you double-click a .doc or .docx file, Windows knows to first open Microsoft Word and then it will open the file. If you click Choose Default Apps by File Type, you can associate a different program. If you have two similar programs, such as two different browsers or two different media players, you can configure the system to use one browser or media player for one file type and another browser or media player to open another file type. If you want to open a file with a different program other than the default program, you can right-click a file and select the Open With option. If the program is not there that you want, you can click Choose Another App option. If the app is not there, you may be able to scroll down and click More Apps. If your application is still not listed, you can select Look for another app on this PC, where you'll be prompted to specify the location of the executable file you want to use. If you want to change the default application file type without going through the default apps by file type page, you can select the Always Use the App to Open Files option. Control Panel has programs and features which also allow you to view installed desktop applications. Depending on the program, you can click the program and uninstall, change, or repair. Control Panel will not allow you to view Universal or Windows Store applications. The View Installed Updates option will show updates that have been installed for Windows and desktop applications, as shown here. The Turn Windows feature on or off option is what was shown earlier that allows you to add or remove built-in Windows features. Sometimes older software will not run on Windows computers. Check the vendor website to see if a patch, update, or instructions to get the application to run on the newer operating system. You can also try running the application in compatibility mode. Another option is to create a virtual machine on Windows 10 or 11 that runs an older version of Windows and run the application from the virtual machine. The Program Compatibility Troubleshooter is essentially a wizard that simplifies the process of selecting compatibility mode settings for an executable. However, you can also configure the same compatibility mode settings manually. To configure the compatibility mode settings for an application, you must open the property sheet for the application's executable file or a shortcut pointing to that executable file and select the Compatibility tab. You can select compatibility mode and have the application run as if it's running on Windows Vista, Windows 7, or Windows 8 machine. You can also run the program as an administrator, which should be used with care. You may also have the option to reduce color mode, such as run as an 8-bit 256 colors or with a 640 by 480 resolution. These settings may run for just the user, or you can select change settings for all users for this computer. Usually, you can click the X button in the top right corner of a window to close the windows or program. You can also usually open the file menu and click the exit or close option if it is available. If a program will not end on its own, you can also open the Task Manager, and under Processes or Details tab, you can right-click the process and click End Task. You can also try to use the Alt F4 to close the current window. Question: you have a program that has been closing unexpectedly since you rebooted over the weekend, and on occasion it says a data library is missing. What should you do first? Answer: repair the application using the Windows Control Panel. Question: you had a computer that was running Windows 7 and you upgraded the computer to Windows 10. Now a software that you've been using for quite a while can no longer run. What should you do? Answer: run the application in compatibility mode. Question: you have Windows with Adobe Acrobat Reader. However, when you double-click a PDF file, it opens in Microsoft Edge. You want the program to open with Adobe Acrobat Reader. What should you do? Answer: default apps. Question: what key combination can you use to close a running application? Answer: Alt F4. For more information, visit these sites. In summary, an application, also known as a program, is a computer software package that performs a specific function or task for an end user or another application based on carefully designed features. Desktop applications are the traditional Windows application that you install and use with the mouse and keyboard, which are listed in the control panel programs and features. Windows apps are downloaded and installed from the Microsoft Store. Apps features in Windows settings shows all applications, desktop and Universal/Microsoft Store apps that are installed on your machine. A default app is a program that you have installed on Windows 10 or 11 that is used to open certain file types or complete certain tasks. Control Panel has programs and features which will also allow you to view installed desktop applications. Depending on the program, you can click the program and uninstall, change, or repair. Control Panel will not allow you to view Universal or Windows Store applications. Sometimes older software will not run on newer Windows computers. Therefore, you'll need to check the vendor to see if a patch, update, or instructions to get the application to run on the newer operating system. When a program's not running on newer Windows, you can try running the application in compatibility mode or create a virtual machine on Windows 10 or 11 that runs an older version of Windows and runs the application from the virtual machine. To quickly exit a program, press the Alt F4 keys. Thank you for watching this video. The next video will be Configuring Windows Part 10 Windows File Explorer Options. Thank you.